Come on in and join us. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? All right. On behalf of St. Lucie County and the Environmental Resources Department, I want to welcome everyone to the Petravis Family Preserve ribbon cutting. Thank you all for coming out here today. I'm Amy Griffin. I'm the Environmental Resources Director for St. Lucie County, and I have the honor and privilege of being your MC today. But to kick us off, please rise and join me in welcoming Troop 479 for the flag ceremony and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Color Guard, advance. Color Guard, post the colors. Color Guard, secure the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color Guard dismissed.
All right, please be seated. Thank you, gentlemen. That was beautiful and very well done. I also wanted to point out that Troop 479 helped by making some of the lawn games that you see out there, including the horseshoe pits and some of the other. Oh, sorry, the speech is over. There you go. Thank you, young man. All right, the next part I hear is the most difficult, and that is recognizing all of the dignitaries. I'd like to start with St. Lucie County Commissioners, and we have Commissioner Hutchinson, Franny Hutchinson. Commissioner Linda Bartz, Commissioner Chris Zadowski, and Commissioner Sean Mitchell. All right, there he is. I don't see Kathy. Did Ms. Townsend show up? Commissioner Townsend? No, okay. Mark Satterley or Alfonso from administration? Okay. All the directors, I won't go through them by name, except Eric Gill. I did want to thank Eric Gill and his media team for being here today on their day off. And then next, the city of Port St. Lucie. Did I miss anyone? I didn't think anyone showed up from Port St. Lucie. Okay. Fort Pierce, we have councilperson Jeremiah Johnson. Constitutionals, we have Michelle Miller, clerk of the court. And representing Michelle Franklin, property appraiser, is her mother, Brenda. We love Brenda. All right. Yeah, he's next. And as was just pointed out, Sheriff Ken Mascara, thank you for incognito. And again, in particular, I'd like to point out Deputy Bell, who works very closely with ERD on all of our eggland type of issues. Thank you for coming. I honestly don't think I captured anyone from the state or federal offices. Is Catherine Thomas with Dana Trobulsi here? They're all in session, which is the main reason they did not show up today. Okay, moving on. Is there anyone from the Land Acquisition Selection Committee? Butch Turpening or Liberta Scotto, they RSVP'd that they'd come. The Land Acquisition Selection Committee is very important in acquiring and reviewing all of the lands that St. Lucie County purchases. So they're definitely dignitaries. Doug Coward, Cliff Barnes? No? Steve Fosick? Well, I'm mentioning them because those three were also very integral and very important in preserving all of the, starting the program essentially, and preserving these lands. I see Jane Rowley. She says she's here representing nobody but also everybody. All right, that's it for dignitaries, but I would also like to send out a special thank you to all the local contractors that did a good amount of the work that was here, including Underwater Engineering Services, Inc. They have their truck over there if you want their telephone number. They built the bridge and a few other amenities that you'll see. Aqua Waste, is anyone here from Aqua Waste? They built the pavilion and a couple other of the amenities. JTC Contracting is Jake Crouch here. The ADA parking areas and all the concrete you'll see. Gary Roberts Nursery, and we're going to hear a lot more about Gary Roberts in a minute, but Bud Roberts is here. EW Environmental Consulting Group, we've got a couple people from them. So again, I like to point out that the contractors were local and they did the work here. Last but not least, Sherry Anker, Conservation Alliance President for St. Lucie County. Okay, my apologies if I left anyone else out. Like I said, that's apparently the hardest job up here. But everybody who was mentioned today and wasn't mentioned, they have had a big impact in making this project come to life and making a positive difference in their community. Okay, before we get into the speakers, I want to do a recognition for the very first family that RSVP'd to this event. We like people who follow directions, so we would like to recognize William and Karen Eason of Driftwood Lane. And Jill Arnold here has your basket. Are you here? Are you here? They RSVP'd. They're already out on the trails, probably. Okay. So why is this Petravus Preserve? I wanted to give a little explanation. This preserve is named after Dr. Peter Petravus, who moved here from Chicago, and he lived in Fort Pierce for 19 years. Before retirement, he was an ophthalmologist, and he served in the Army in the 405 Medical Collecting Company during World War II. He had two daughters, Caroline Haupt and Justine Roberts. And several members of Dr. Petravus's family have joined us today, including Bud Roberts. Wait, Bud. Did I miss anyone? Oh, wave and show us who you are, the whole Petravus clan. That's fantastic. Thank you for joining us today and honoring your grandfather's legacy. So our first speaker was going to be the Florida Communities Trust. I want to recognize Rita Ventry for driving down here for today. But for a little bit of a technical glitch, I'm going to be reading her talking points. I hope that's okay. So I want to take a minute to recognize the long-standing partnership that FCT, Florida Communities Trust, has with St. Lucie County. They have been important in when we have the environmental significant lands bond, we always write a grant for Florida Communities Trust to match the acquisition price. So just about every preserve you see in St. Lucie County, and we'll go through some numbers in a minute, 50% was paid for by the environmentally significant land bond, which Commissioner Mitchell will talk about in a minute, and the other 50% was a reimbursement from the Florida Communities Trust program. Statewide, FCT has over 600 project sites throughout Florida and have supported the acquisition of over 96,000 acres for preservation. FCT continues to assist local stakeholders, such as St. Lucie County, with acquisitions to safeguard Florida's fragile ecosystems, conserve natural resources, and foster multi-use passive recreation trails such as hiking, birdwatching, nature study, and equestrian trail riding. FCT complements many of DEP's, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection's grant programs, including the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which actually provided $200,000 for the amenities, the construction of the amenities on Petravus Preserve alone. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So in St. Lucie County alone, this includes the cities as well, we have benefited from 38 FCT projects. That's the protection of 7,118 acres in St. Lucie County with the assistance of Florida Communities Trust. And that equates to about approximately $25 million. $25 million. So of that $25 million, $10 million alone was for protecting land along the North Fork of the St. Lucie River, including this Petravus Family Preserve, where FCT contributed $401,468. Sorry, once it's a couple bucks, more than a couple bucks, it's bigger than me. So 400,000 plus. So thank you, FCT. Moving on to the second speaker, I would like to introduce Jenna Taylor, who is here today wearing two hats, one representing the White City Improvement Club and one representing the Florida Trail Association. So without further ado, Jenna Taylor.
Hi, good afternoon. As Amy said, my name is Jenna Taylor, and I'm just going to share just a little bit about why this preserve is important, not only to the residents of White City and the White City Improvement Club, but why do spaces like this matter in general? Why do we work so hard to have spaces like this? So I've been a longtime resident of St. Lucie County of Fort Pierce, but we moved back to White City in 2019. My husband's family has lived in White City for over 60 years, and we were fortunate to purchase a family home and restore it right off of Oleander. And one of the first things that we did when we moved to White City was to join the White City Improvement Club. I've been driving by that my whole life and never knew what happened there. It was very mysterious. And so this organization was first formed in 1904, and it was formed to really provide aid and support to the residents of White City, and it does much of that today. The White City Improvement Club continues to advocate for issues around this section of the county, and I think we can all agree this is one of the most beautiful sections of St. Lucie County. And I said, there's a reason everyone's family photos are in White City Park. It's just gorgeous. And so protecting this corridor with this preserve, continues to not only provide recreation opportunities, but it provides a refuge for wildlife and connectivity for species that are in this area. And it's an incredible asset, and it's one that the White City Improvement Club is excited to have for both residents and visitors to the area. So the club stopped meeting because of COVID, but they will resume meeting March 24th. So they would like me to encourage anyone who wants to come out and find out what the club is about and get involved in supporting White City. So as Amy said, I'm also here as a staff member for the Florida Trail Association. And the Florida Trail Association is the nonprofit that is responsible for promoting, protecting, and maintaining the Florida National Scenic Trail. So I'm sure all of you know about the Appalachian Trail, right? Everybody's heard of that. But did you know we have a National Scenic Trail here in Florida? It's very exciting. So this is one of 11 congressionally designated hiking trails. So this trail starts in Big Cypress National Preserve, which is in Okeechobee, and goes up to Gulf Islands National Seashore in Pensacola. So it's a 1,500-mile trail, and it goes through state parks, water management lands, FWC properties, and of course it utilizes parks and preserves like this one. And the work that we do is all volunteers. So we have 19 local chapters. There is one here in St. Lucie County called the Tropical Trekkers. They would love to have you. I don't want to steal volunteers from the county, but if you want to, come see me. And so in my role as a trail coordinator for this region, I am painfully aware that Florida is decades behind in protecting public lands. Our open spaces are constantly being edged out for building new homes for Florida residents and future Florida residents. And that is important, but we can't overlook the opportunities that we need to provide to interact with nature. The FTA, in partnership with the University of Florida, conducts an annual visitor usage study. And we only get about 100 people who hike the trail from top to bottom or bottom to top. But we know that we get over 350,000 users to the Florida Trail every year. And these numbers grew, 200% during COVID. People were rushing to be outside because it felt like a safe place to be. And there's huge economic impact to having outdoor spaces. In Florida alone, outdoor recreation contributes 500,000 jobs and equates to $58.6 billion in consumer spending, billion dollars. And that's just for people recreating outside. And those are statistics that were from pre-COVID, so I'm kind of excited to see when we get that back for what's happened after people have found being outside. Trails add values to homes and they bring visitors to our state. But why? Why does it matter? Why do people want to be outside? So a few reasons I think trails and outdoor spaces are important is, number one, they provide healing. We have a group right now of veterans with Warrior Expeditions who are hiking the trail. They help veterans transition back to civilian life and combat PTSD using outdoor spaces. Trails have provided hope. I have a friend, and I'm so proud of him. Tomorrow he is setting off on a 6-day hike, one that should have not been possible for him. During COVID, he started hiking just using his community parks. He lost 85 pounds. And so this is a goal that he's finally reached. So he shouldn't have been able to do that. For volunteers who maintain natural spaces, trails are a way to have a purpose. It's a way to serve your community. For many of our retired volunteers at the FTA, it's a meaningful way to spend their retirement. And for others, the trail is simply a way to meet new friends, to socialize. But most importantly, and I'm so glad there are so many kiddos here today, natural spaces like this are for our next generation. Last year I wrote an article for our magazine with the Florida Trail about the next generation of trail users and the science behind kids and nature. And simply by being outside, kids are changing their brains. They become more emotionally regulated, they're able to problem solve, they become curious, they're creative, but most importantly, children who are outside and able to be in spaces like this, they're developing empathy for living things. And children who can have empathy for things like plants and animals, they develop empathy for their fellow man. And I think that in the long run is what creates a community that I hope we all want to be a part of. So the land that we're standing on today, this could have been more homes, and that would have been fine. But instead, this space is going to offer a place for healing, hope, rest, and our future. So on behalf of the residents of White City, the White City Improvement Club, and the Florida Trail Association, and most importantly myself, thank you so much, St. Lucie County, for offering us this opportunity.
Great job, Jenna. Thank you. I already feel calmer myself, usually giving speeches, but outside is better. I want to echo your sentiments to thanking the White City residents in this neighborhood in particular. You have put up with us being out here working on this preserve like it was never going to open. So we purchased it in 2015, and due to a number of reasons I won't go into, it took a little while to get us done, and you've all been very eager and anxious to get in here. So thank you for your tolerance and patience, and thank you for letting us move into your neighborhood. And during that time, we did listen to the White City folks and heard your concerns. So at this point, I wanted to introduce the two work campers. St. Lucie County has a program where we have in-preserve resident caretakers. We call it work campers. So Mike Brady and Ken Sailors over there in the orange shirts. They each have 25 years with the St. Lucie County Fire District, and they are your new neighbors. So during this time today, I'd like you guys to get to know them and them to get to know you. And they're going to be here on site, obviously, when they're not, working. I think you'll find this preserve will be in good hands. Okay, next, our final esteemed guest. District 2 Commissioner and current Chairman, Sean Mitchell.
Thank you, Amy. Good afternoon, everyone. What a fantastic day it is today to celebrate the opening of this beautiful neighborhood preserve. I'm really encouraged by the great turnout we have today, and to hold this celebration on a presidential holiday helps us afford for more of our community to take part in this occasion. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Petravas Family Preserve. This setting wouldn't be any more perfect than right here in White City in the heart of St. Lucie County. As we celebrate this occasion, I think it's important to recognize the history that helped guide us to where we stand today. In 1994, the citizens of St. Lucie County spoke by overwhelmingly voting to tax themselves to acquire places like this and to protect our environmentally sensitive lands throughout the county. This initiative passed by the ballot by 67%, which is almost 70%. That is something we rarely see in the issues of today. But above all else, this speaks to how environmentally conscious that our community is, and I'm thankful for our board and our local leaders of the recent past and their foresight on this endeavor. Both Commissioner Hutchinson and Commissioner Zadowski were here through much of this, and I wanted to recognize them both for their support and guidance. Thank you both. Doug Coward and Cliff Barnes and Franny Hutchinson, previous Administrator Doug Anderson, and staff members such as Steve Waite, David Kelly, and Diana Waite. Before I leave that thought, I must say truly the story of environmentally significant land bonds in St. Lucie County is one of the biggest success stories in recent history. It's no secret, but it's not always at the forefront of our minds that these efforts raised over $20 million locally and amounted to saving more than 11,000 square acres throughout the county. Today, these lands are worth more than $80 million. Imagine that. For every dollar we spent, guaranteed a $4 return. Whew, that's amazing. And our staff, thank you. Our staff, together with many other partners, did that very thing. They committed $20 million and they turned it into $80 million in an unprecedented achievement. So thank you to our figures of the past, and thank you to the many staff members. You guys over there and gals, you're amazing, and thank you for what you do. Sometimes you don't get recognized for your efforts, but I want to recognize you today. Today, the Petravas Family Preserve marks a 34.5-acre million-dollar addition to the more than 2,500 acres of public conservation land already preserved along our beautiful river. The overall acreage protected our waterways is entirely another success story, and it wouldn't have been possible without the help of the City of Port St. Lucie, the City of Fort Pierce, the Department of Environmental Protection, the South Florida Water Management District, Florida Audubon, and the great staff at the Florida State Communities Trust Program. This site and public access afforded here today is just another feather in the cap. As you walk the grounds today, and I had the privilege about 3 weeks ago to walk this with Amy and the crew, and just the bridge and all the nature of the North Fork, the way it'll be in infinity for us because of this preservation, I invite you to imagine the property as it was as a thriving family nursery in its heyday. And then in doing so, imagine that this property may have later been turned into 70 developed homes prior to its preservation. Although development is important and vital to our community, protecting our waterfront is even more proven to be important for our resiliency to changing seas, weather, water quality, and not to mention our own health and mental well-being. Now, Dr. Petravas originally purchased this land for his daughters to play and to ride horses, and he eventually built a nursery that once stood right here. He was often quoted saying, "One day, this will be a park." Well, here we are in full circle. Imagine that this site means to this neighborhood and for our children, our children's children, that will always have the place to walk, experience the river, photography, nature at its best. It's only what we make of it. But picnicking, walking trails, boardwalks, river views, kayaking, greenways and trails, fishing, you can count me in now. I'm a proud supporter into the future. So in parting, It gives me great pleasure today to celebrate this story with you and to welcome the public to more than $400,000 worth of improvements that were made possible by our friends at the Land Water Conservation Fund. Of these funds, St. Lucie County shared more than half its cost to help make this preserve safe and open to the public for daily use. Welcome, and as an elected official, you always wait for the best part, so I'm going to say it now. And in conclusion, enjoy yourselves today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Mitchell, and thank you and all of the St. Lucie County Commissioners for being big supporters of this program and making, you can truly say you're leaving your community a better place than when you started. So before we move over to the actual ribbon cutting, I did want to take the liberty of thanking my team, the Environmental Resources Department, that has worked so incredibly hard, and everything we do is a collaborative effort. So every single person involved in ERD has had a role in this, and sometimes it's our passions and hard work, sometimes it's really blood, sweat, and tears that they've poured into this preserve. A sincere and huge thank you to my Environmental Resources team. Okay, now I would like to invite the county commissioners and dignitaries over to that kiosk by the food truck where we'll do the ceremonial ribbon cutting. I would like to invite the community to sign up for a hike or a kayak trip or just play with the lawn games, enjoy a free lunch on St. Lucie County, and just come back and see us again. Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.